straight, eyes closed, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feeling that power you have, your determination to control your breathing. The same way you can take control of your mind anywhere you are, whatever you're doing. Let's use that same power, that same determination to see in our mind the image, the visions that we want to create today in our lives. Let's see ourselves doing the best we can on all of the stretches and exercises we do together here and now.
Wonderful burst of pace and another goal. Good ball into Ed.
Morning guys, I want to share with you today an idea I got from Stephen Covey in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it is the idea of living a principle-centered life. To me, this has helped me out so much, and I hope it helps you. This is something that I believe will allow us to deal with the complexities of change that happen outside of us. See, if we have, even in that one word, and you see me talking about my one word, determination, every one word which is revolving around a truth principle will eventually connect and converge with other truth principles. These things last. They've lasted forever. And if we can find our one word, that one thing that is in our life that we know we're drawn to and we can follow, if we're centered around even one correct principle, nothing outside of us, not people, not circumstances, not anything can take away our freedom, peace, and happiness. Have a great day, everybody.
in Tuscany right now and answering you guys' questions as always. But this one was a really good one and perfect for our setting, which was, Brendan, how do you find inspiration? Well, obviously, Tuscany is helping right now. Denise and I are on vacation, part of our summer vacation, and stopping over here, and it's just stunningly gorgeous. But it's a really good topic because, you know, you guys see it all the time, all the content I produce, the podcasts, the 6 different books, the 20 plus online courses. Like, how do you do all that? Well, you have to learn to set up your life for inspiration. Inspiration is not something that hopefully will happen one day and you come up with the greatest idea of your life. You have to consistently put things into your life to generate that level of creativity and inspiration that happens on an ongoing basis, that gives you ongoing breakthroughs. And that's the way I think about it. On this trip, let me share 4 things that we're really thinking about to get inspired. All right, number 1 thing that I think of with inspiration is adventure. Because what we often think about is, well, I'll just be inspired by, picking up social media and I'll scroll through things and that will help me become more inspired. I'm like, no, that will help you become distracted or become someone who mimics other people. Instead, I think one way to really get inspiration in your life is to break your pattern of routine and do something that is adventurous. So Denise and I, this morning, we went on a big hot air balloon ride, which was spectacular. Yesterday we did something more simple. We took a long bike ride, but kind of adventurous, I would say, here in Tuscany. But we're always trying to figure out, what's something that we can do physically to activate our brain, our body, our breath, our movement, because from that it opens up your brain, opens up new ideas and thoughts. So 1, begin with some type of adventure. Have you scheduled any adventurous things in your life over the next 6-7 months? And if you haven't, then you can't be surprised that you're not having better breakthroughs. Number 2, I would say, to draw inspiration, revisit and learn about history. These places that we're seeing in Tuscany are, 700 years old, 1,000 years old, which is pretty epic, right? And if you think about that, a big piece of learning of life is visiting history. When we were in Florence, we checked out all this amazing locations that, from where Michelangelo and Leonardo and some of the great artists and really standard bearers of culture emerged from, and we learned so much. I just felt like we were constantly learning on that and seeing all this artistry from history. Art history especially is really inspiring to me, and I got all these new ideas of things that I want to create or do based off of that. So I think studying history, I've just also finished another book of the week, and I studied 4 US presidents and how they handled conflict and challenge in really times of crisis. And learning from history has always been something that inspired me to want to be a better artist, but also a better creator and a better leader. There goes Denise. She doesn't know I'm filming, but she's a really huge inspiration for me because she loves all things art and culture, and she's always getting me to work out and take care of myself. And it's kind of like watching a wild animal right now. I feel like I'm a guy on one of those Discovery Channel things, but that girl right there has been one of the great inspirations of my life. I love you, honey. Look at that. Yes. The grapes. Number 3 is people. People should inspire you. And I'm thinking about that because we're in the vineyard right now, and I was thinking how yesterday, was it? Yeah, we did this cooking class, right, with this amazing chef who was so passionate and enthusiastic about Italian cooking. And I'm somebody, as you know, I don't know much about cooking. I think it was my first Italian cooking class. It was amazing. I know nothing about that. It was so inspiring. Afterwards, I said to my wife, I was like, you know what? I loved that. I loved learning from this guy and hearing about him. He was funny. He was a great chef. And even though I'm not a cook, I was inspired to cook. And I think about how critical it is to be around new people with different skill sets than you that help you access different areas of inspiration for yourself. I mean, not just in terms of cooking. It just the way he was teaching made me think about how I teach. The way he prepared things made me think about excellence in preparing things in my own life. And I just think it's so huge for you to get around people who are great and passionate at what they do as much as you possibly can, because you're going to find inspiration there. I know that sounds so basic, but think about how often you hang out with the same 4 or 5 people. You know, you see your family members, you hang out with a couple people, and the unfortunate reality is many people live in a tiny little bubble. And because they live in a tiny little bubble, their thoughts are a tiny little thought bubble. And they're never really breaking the boundaries of their own thinking. They're never accessing higher levels of reasoning because they have no perspective. So get around more people, hang out more with new people who have great skill sets where you can be inspired by both their mastery, their enthusiasm, and their own field of interest. Will you look at this field? Is that gorgeous? I don't know if you guys can see this. It's too bright. Last big idea for you, for inspiration, is journaling. It doesn't sound as sexy as adventure or history and art or hang out with amazing people. But the truth is, you need to give yourself some time to hang out with yourself and actually think about what you want in life. Because isn't it true? You often go on vacation, you see amazing places, and you're like, oh, I'm inspired. Or you sit by the pool, or you sit out, somewhere just having a picnic, or maybe you're at the coffee shop with your journal, and you just write about life. And, I've got my hat on here, Live, Love, Matter. And I think, of how that simple sort of lessons from my car accident, whatever it was, 23 years ago, inspired this whole life that I have. Because after my accident, I sat down, I journaled what I wanted to learn from that experience of my car accident. I wanted to learn to live, I wanted to learn to love more, I wanted to learn to make a difference. And that really came from journaling and just writing about what do you want life to be about? What do you want life to be about? The more consistently you journal and you write, what do you want life to be about? I promise you, my friend, I promise you, you will start feeling more inspired way more often. But you got to do the work. All these things. Planning adventure, you got to do that work. Learning about art and learning about history, got to do the work. I mean, getting yourself around people who are inspiring, enthusiastic, you got to travel those events, do those things, and finally journal every single day about what you really want of life, what your thoughts are, what your feelings and needs and desires and observations are about life, because the more you write and observe about life, the more you are inspired. In Tuscany this morning, and going on our first ever balloon ride, which we're excited about. Still waking up, honestly, but I've heard this is amazing and people talk about it all the time. One thing you have to do when you're traveling is you've got to go on local adventures. Sometimes that means, like today, we go on a balloon ride. Sometimes that means, we go on a bike ride. Sometimes that means we take helicopter tours, wine tastings, go to the best restaurants, have some chef things, or just go to local park and have a picnic. It doesn't have to be fancy, but the whole point of traveling is to get out and about and enjoy life a little bit.
Down, down, do your dance, do your we got dance. A brand new dance. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Down, down, do your dance. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. They say I'm a rapper, and I say no. They say what you doing, trying to do somebody cold. I just let the music come from my soul, so all of my people can stay on the floor. They got a brand new dance. You gotta move your muscle. A brand new dance. It's called a Cupid Shuffle. It don't matter if you're young or you're old. Here we go. We gon' show you how it goes. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Now kick, now kick, now kick, now kick. Now walk it by yourself. Now walk it by yourself. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do your dance, do your dance. Let me see you do the Cupid. Do your dance, do your dance. Do your dance, do your dance. now kick. Now come on, baby, kick. Now walk it by yourself. Walk it by yourself. To the right, to the right, to the right, the right, the right. The left, to the left, to the left, the left, the left. Now kick, now kick, now kick, now kick. Now walk it by yourself. Walk it by yourself and do the Cupid shuffle. Now let me see you do the Cupid shuffle. Now let me see you do the. It's your boy Cupid, C-U-P-D-I-D. Mr. Fat on the track, got another hit indeed. Do the down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Come on, come on. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Let me see you. Do your dance, do your dance. Do your dance. Do your dance, do your dance. Down, down, do your dance. We got a brand new dance. We got a brand new sound. We got a brand new feel. We got a brand new style, y'all.
Turn running off him is Xavi. Excellent from Barcelona. Messi on the turn, looking for the room, finds the room and finds the corner. He is in.
Good morning, guys. Today, in our top 10 rules for success, we're introduced to Oprah Winfrey. She, for most of us, needs no explanation, but for those of us that don't know her, she has come from a background that many of us can't even imagine. So she was born into poverty in Mississippi to a teenage mom, and she has risen to become one of the greatest philanthropists in human history. And she tells us today, and it stands out for me, this quote, that we all deeply want to express the highest form of our humanity, of ourselves. So that's the truest need and desire for all of us, is to express that highest form of human expression. And to do that, we have to work hard. It takes a lot of hard work, but we have to align ourselves with correct principles. So we have to constantly be working at finding what are correct principles and aligning our values with that. So I hope we do that each and every moment. Have a great day, everybody.
Let's say it cost you $1 million.
It's not the money, Mark.
Let's say it took you a year and a half.
I don't want to spend a
And
year
you
and a
could
half
impact
doing
an
that.
entire next generation to have what you
That's a
didn't have.
logical way of looking at it.
Yes, you need to be more logical sometimes.
I want to be emotionally connected to the projects that I'm doing.
You may be missing tremendous opportunities for the things that just don't make sense. All of the stuff that you could make, the team you could have, the people you could hire, the culture you can have, the brand that you could have, the downloads or the offers or the things that you do, right? Like, if you didn't worry so much about the data-driven decisions, you don't know if they're not 2 or 3 or 4 degrees separated from a really cool outcome. Because like The Office took a season and a half to find its voice. It just takes time to figure out and crack the nut. So less heart, more head.
Well, no,
That's why you suck.
I suck because I'm too fashion-driven. Tell me why I suck. We are back with one of my longest friends, Mark Drager, who is a branding expert, and I bring on people who kind of kick my butt and tell me why I suck at different things, and through my discomfort and pain and awkwardness, hopefully you guys learn the process too. So Mark runs, what do you do, Mark?
I run Sales Loop. We are a branding agency. We help B2B businesses, mostly service-based, 7- and 8-figure businesses sell more.
So Sales Loop is the new company, but you've been doing this for 20 years or something.
I started in 2006. I was 23.
Yeah.
And I thought, I know, I can quit my job, even though my daughter's only a week old and my wife is at home and has no money. I'll quit my job and start my own company because I'll make so much more money. And eventually that happened, but it took 5 years to get there. And you were there for a lot of it.
That's good. It's been a ride. So I bring people on. They tell me why I suck. That's kind of the goal. You have an advantage and a unique perspective of being on the journey for so long. You helped me film my first video. You've been at the first of a lot of the different things that I've done. So you've seen it kind of happen and unfold. So when I bring people on, you have to give a story and explain some of the things, but you know it a lot better than maybe I do too, to be honest. You remember more things than I do. So I'm trying to figure out, the next steps. I'm we're growing, we're having impact. We're doing the YouTube thing, as well as training thought leaders and helping some of the biggest names in the industry. But I also don't know what I don't know, and just trying to figure out what don't I see. So I thought, let's bring Mark on, and he can kick my butt.
Well, it's interesting because, I've known that this recording is going to be for a little while. And I was thinking about, all the ways that you suck. And that's a joke, but you took that way too seriously. But,
I'm like, tell me.
yeah, like you hit me with it. But no, actually, I was reflecting on your journey. When we met, you were running like a publication, and it was very SEO heavy. And then you started to get into video after many years because it was 2009, but video at YouTube had been a thing for a few years already. And you were, you jumped all into video and you went all in on it. And I've watched you write your first book and your second and your third and your fourth. I've watched you go from saying, I never want to leave my home office and I don't really want to have a team, to growing. How many people on your team now?
42
people on your team. And the idea of like, oh, I don't want to go out and speak anywhere. And now you share the stages with, Peyton Manning and Brendan Burchard and just like all of the biggest names you shared the stages with. And I've seen you grow your channel from back in the day where we were looking at numbers every month. And you're like, I remember, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I remember you going like, there's this guy, Grant Cardone.
Oh yeah.
And our agent, we have the same agent, and I'm going to beat him to like 100,000 YouTube subs. Or I remember really early on you being like, hey, this Gary V guy, I'm going to beat him to 1 million subs. Just watch. We got the numbers. I know we have the numbers, right? And so I've watched this journey that you've gone through as you've grown. And so I think this will be an interesting episode, mostly because I probably do know you better than anyone else, but I also know that I know how good you are at focusing at really specific things. I know when you care about something, you really care about it, and you just do not care about anything else. So when sometimes I'm like, oh, what about this? And you're like, that's not important to me. What about that? That's not important to me. That's not important to me. So it's like, okay. And then the other thing is when I've come with suggestions sometimes in the past, you're like, that's so small. That's so small. What? No, what's the big thing? What's the big thing that's going to take us to the next level? What's the 10x thing?
Okay.
And so I know.
Is that what you're bringing today?
And so I know you well enough to know that this could go along the lines. Your natural way to approach things is like, that's too small, so I'm going to ignore it. I'm not interested in that right now, so I'm going to ignore it. I can't measure it for immediate results.
From the beginning.
So I'm not going to
let's get into ideas here. Let's go. What do we got? Okay.
I'm getting this forward because audience, if Evan starts doing this, help me catch him up.
Oh my gosh. Okay, great. Now that we had the 5-minute preamble, can we get into what we're doing here, Mark?
So what's the thing that's holding you back right now?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, what's the vision that you have that you want to grow to?
I have a standard answer, but
no, the no bullshit answer.
The standard is not BS either. But it's like, if I had a specific thing that I knew for sure, that's what I would be doing, right? Like if I had I know the bigger picture version, but the tactical, like micro, what's the mini, I don't know, right? So if you look at what's holding me back, well, lack of belief in myself to do the next big thing. What is the next big thing?
Not the next big thing though. Like I know that you have master like lifetime goal. I know that you always want to be swimming. I know that you always want to be pursuing that. But I also know that you have, like what you're working on right now in that 3 to 5 year vision that you probably like, I don't know. Do you have this like, oh man, I am working, it's 3 to 5 years away, but this is what I want and this is what I'm working towards?
But I also don't think in 5 year like chunks like that. The big vision is I want to solve the world's biggest problem, right? People don't believe in themselves enough.
Great.
So how do I do that? Well, currently, and I'm open, like say, hey, the stuff you're doing currently sucks and you shouldn't be doing it at all. Perfect. Great. What should I be doing instead? Currently, I think the way to address it for the world is content at scale. And so YouTube primary and then split to the other platforms after that. But content, positive, optimistic, hopeful, believe content at scale, I think is the best way that I've got to solve the problem. And so that's what we're doing. But we could do it better. We'd have new shows. We'd have like, that's a big idea. And then inside there's lots of little ideas of show concepts and what we could be doing.
Let's look at the content. So the content at scale, it's not necessarily entertaining. It's not necessarily super specific and educational. It's motivational. It's inspirational. Like how do you classify it?
Not entertaining. Yeah, I don't think people would say entertaining. I wouldn't even say motivational necessarily, but the goal is I would love for somebody to come and watch the videos, and at the end of each video, believe in themselves more to go and do whatever the thing is that they want to do, to inspire them to play a bigger game and feel like I can do this today. Because that's what it does for me.
So how's that not motivational or inspirational?
When I think of the motivational genre, I think of the motivational speeches and the running videos and the workout videos and like somebody yelling at you and that kind of stuff. And that's a super successful genre. We've maybe done a couple videos along that ilk of, Les Brown speeches or something, but it's not really the main focus of what we do. For me, it's sometimes the right idea said in the right way can spark a change. And so I'm trying to capture those moments in ways that hit me that then I can share with the audience as well. And sometimes it pops and does really well. Sometimes like I love it and it didn't do so well. If you imagine waking up every day and you're going to go for a walk and you're going to pop on an Evan Carmichael video, I want you to go from feeling like today was just whatever, another day, to like, I'm ready to go get it today. So if that's motivational, cool. I think the approach that we do it is much more through ideas or way of thinking as opposed to just somebody yelling at you to go do something. So maybe the approach is slightly different, but if you want to call it motivational in that sense, then cool.
And so when you think about the magic, formula, the feeling, the vibe that makes an Evan Carmichael video not one of those other channels where people are taking, clips of movies or music or other people's speeches and compiling these 3 hours of motivation that will yell at you, or some of the other channels that exist out there. When you think about that thing that makes your thing yours, have you ever defined that, or is it just a feeling that you have?
It still comes down to a feeling, but we've put maybe some guardrails around it or guidance for a team to also help find, because I'm not finding all of the clips. We're launching 2 videos a day on the English side and more on the other channels. So I'm not looking at every single video and picking every single clip. So it's guardrails. So it has to be positive. It's not, it'd be a lot easier to grow if we were doing
Negative content.
Trump is a blank and whoever and reacting to news and all this kind of stuff, right? Just not interesting. And I've played with, do I be the positive voice inside of those platforms? And it's a struggle, if that is the thing or not. Like if you ask me if I could grow, 100 times bigger and not do that, I'd much rather not do that. So it's about the sharing of ideas and processes and methods that then make you want to go do something bigger. And so
inside my bones, it goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home, we're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights and everything goes, moving hot when I'm getting you close. When we move, well you already know. So just to let you know, can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel the good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling, so just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. 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 Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenal. So don't stop, stop, stop. Under the lights when everything goes. Nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, girl, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feeling good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. Dance, dance, dance. Come on.
Iniesta digging into his bag of tricks, linking beautifully with Messi, and Barcelona have the lead. Rob, you know you can't.
Good morning, guys. Today I want to focus on the living aspect of our path to infinite mind wealth, that freedom, peace, and happiness we all desire. And I want to share a personal story with you, and I hope it inspires you, because my deepest wish and desire in doing what I'm doing every day is for myself to be aligned with correct principles and find that freedom, peace, and happiness. But more importantly, to show you, wherever you are, no matter what you're going through, that it's possible to every single day face some of your doubts, fears, insecurities, and control this to live the life that you want. And I can tell you, in doing this each and every day, and I am so grateful for you, all of you that have given me your time and attention. It's value that I want to bring to you, but it's value, of course, that I want to bring to myself. And I can tell you it works. And I've realized all the fears, doubts, and insecurities, they're all in our mind. I can feel them being broken down every day. So I hope that inspires you. Have a great day, everybody.
I also started where a lot of people are starting. And what did I do? I put myself in a high density environment. I started to volunteer at events. So I put myself in Silicon Valley, and then I began volunteering for groups. And I would carry water, I would take out garbage. Nothing was too low for me. When you are volunteering, a lot of folks who volunteer do the absolute bare minimum because they are not getting paid. This is not going to get you noticed, but it sets a very low bar so that if you volunteer at these events and someone's dropping the ball or there's something happening that needs fixing and you just proactively do it. And then I got invited to join in on meetings that were planning future events. And I eventually got to the point where I was recruiting speakers and able to set the agenda for an entire main event. You have to play the long game. That is one approach, just as an example for how to build your network, which snowballs over time. Don't hump every VIP's leg within 10 minutes of meeting them. Play it cool, very professional, always on time. Predict what they're going to need or problems they'll run into beforehand and address them before they even think of them, and be easy to deal with. And people like that, high performers, notice these things. They will make note of it.
Need motivation?
Watch the Top 10 with Belief Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because I need it. I need it for me because I don't wake up every day and say, yes, let's go conquer the world. No, I wake up and I need that external motivation to match my internal motivation. When I see somebody who's doing amazing things, it makes me just want to play a bigger game. And so I hope that today's video makes you want to play a bigger game too, because your message matters, and let's get it out to the world. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Tim Ferriss, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2 is define your fears.
On the fear side, fear setting first I guess, made its public appearance, for me at least, in the 4-Hour Work Week. And I've continued to do it probably once a quarter, sometimes more frequently, depending on what neuroses has gripped me at the time. And it's very straightforward. So in the same way that you would goal set and make things sort of specific, measurable, achievable, smart, right? Time bound, et cetera. You're applying a lot of these same criteria to your fears. And therefore the name is fear setting, because the fears really exert the most paralysis and produce the most anxiety when they are nebulous.
Yeah.
When they are unclear, when you're just in a room of psycho-emotional smoke. And there are some easy ways to clear that out. Naming your fear allows you to defang it in some interesting ways. And this is directly borrowed from it's a slightly user friendlier version or more concrete version of something called premeditatio malorum, which is an exercise from Stoicism. Seneca the Younger has written extensively about this, but the power of negative visualization. In other words, the benefits of imagining the worst case scenario. And some people might say, and I run into this sometimes, they're like, well, you're just going to manifest the worst thing if you're constantly focused on that. It's not to constantly focus on it. The only way you can avoid constantly focusing on it, I think, is by kind of trapping it on paper in a way that lets you see how manageable most of your fears are.
Rule number 3 is learn to sell.
When did you know you were doing something versus just experiencing it?
Graduate, moved to California, Northern California, to be part of the tech pinball machine for serendipity. I actually think that was a very important decision, just geographically choosing where to be and then what to do being really secondary. Worked in data storage, selling storage area networks, had a desk and a fire exit, definitely not up to code. I remember it was really packed to the brim. Learned a lot about selling. I think everyone should have a service job, work in a restaurant or something like that, and have to sell for a period of time. You learn so much about human interaction. And I learned how to reach out to CTOs and CEOs and so on, how to reach them, playing the long game, not trying to sell a 7-figure system in one phone call. Yep. All of these things translated to many things later. I couldn't have seen that coming, but they did. Then I started this sports nutrition company. Long story. A lot of people here probably know some of the bare bones aspects of it from the 4-Hour Work Week. That experience was simultaneous with a professor of mine, Ed Shao, who taught high-tech entrepreneurship at Princeton, which had a huge impact on me, inviting me back to guest lecture twice a year. And that went from 2003 to 2013 or so. Those notes later became the outline for the 4-Hour Work Week.
How long did the startup exist?
Startup existed until, I want to say 2009 or so, when I sold the company. Not for any huge sum of money, but I sold the company around 2009. So.
And how long was that experience? 6 years?
The experience of building it?
Yeah.
I would say the building phase was the first 3 or 4 years. First year and a half, I had no idea what I was doing. I'd say the subsequent year and a half to 2 years was building out distribution. And then I became very bored with the entire thing. And
feel that? Feel that power? That oneness of us controlling our breathing and our minds? Right here, right now? No matter how hard our movements, exercises were today, no matter how much our body try to take control of our minds? Feel that? That's you. The real you. That's our consciousness. Our being awake fully. To control our minds, to control our breathing, to control our bodies,